Good evening, everyone. Happy Wednesday night. I'm Leah Dixon from Port Coquitlam, British Columbia. I am here with what is normally my regular Tuesday morning Facebook Live, moved to Wednesday nights for the month of September. So I'm going to be creating with the Delicate Dahlias stamp set today, which is one of our Celebration Host sets. So I'm very, very happy that you can join me this evening. And I'm going to get right into it. So I'm going to pop over and change my screen view here so that you can see the awesome stamp set that we're using. So this stamp set is a celebration offering, and so you can earn this one for free with a $120 order out of any of our catalogs. Hi Norma, thanks for joining. So I was saying this is my normal Tuesday morning Facebook Live happening at 7:30 on a Wednesday night. September is a crazy time. I'm super excited though. I finally have my own class, and well, I've always had my own class, but I finally have my class. And schedules are crazy and life is crazy, but it's super fun right now. And I still get to stamp, so yay. Hi Jacqueline. Nice to see you on this evening. All right, I saw you drinking your carrot juice the other day. Looked delicious. Our carrots are just about ready to harvest. All right, so we're going to play with a whole bunch of layers today. The color scheme we're kind of going with is Mary Merlot. The one that I always forget, Cinnamon Cider, which is one of our in colors from 2020 to 2022. And then we'll pull in some some pale pink with our ribbon. We're going to get started stamping on just a piece here. This was 4 by 5 1/4, and then I just trimmed 1/8 of an inch off of 2 of the sides just to make it slightly smaller, so it will fit on a 4 by 5 1/4 Mary Merlot mat. Now this stamp set is absolutely gorgeous. We have these lovely line drawings and some beautiful sentiments, but then we have 4. I always forget this little guy. We have 4 like photorealistic images. I did get the dahlias. Oh, I had to. And so I actually want to show you mostly these photorealistic images and how to best work with them, because they are so beautiful, but they can be so frustrating. And I recently learned a little tip on how to ink them up. So I used to take my photorealistic image, put it into my ink, and hope for the best. Hope that my ink pad wasn't too dry or too wet or too whatever. We're going to use Mary Merlot for this. And no more. So I will just show you quickly here what happens if you just plunk this down into your ink. And this is an ink pad that I don't consider to be too wet or too dry. This is a perfect ink pad, and you pop it in there and you stamp the image down, and it's okay. It's pretty dark. It doesn't have a ton of definition in some areas. Now I'm going to use my blending brush to apply my ink. So I'm going to come in here, ink that up, and then unlike when I'm trying to actually like do some nice blending, I'm going to come in and actually hold the head so I can really put this on where I want it. And I'm going to come in instead and stamp and blend right onto my image, and then I'm going to stamp my image. And you can see it's a much softer color with a lot more detail, a lot more definition. Okay, so we're actually going to do that a whole bunch. Oh, hi Lila. For some reason my comments aren't scrolling down on me. I'm having to scroll manually. Kind of strange. All right. And I don't want to cross post. Thanks. All right. Nice to see you, Lila. So we're just using some Mary Merlot ink here and our blending brush, and I'm blending directly onto my image. And so if I want a darker color than what I originally got there, I'm just going to put more ink onto my image. And then the more I put on, the darker my image will be. All right. So I'm going to come in here like this, do another stamped image, and we're just going to repeat this over and over again, putting ink onto our image and then stamping it, but we're using our blending brush so that we don't get too dark or too much in one spot. Here we go. Oh, for some reason it's still not scrolling. Yeah, so it creates just a really, really nice look on here. So we just have a few more to do here. Oh, spinning it around. And I am kind of purposefully keeping these images in the back quite light. You'll see why in a moment, because we don't want our background to kind of scream at us. All right, pop that in there. So it looks like I maybe need 2 more. So now when you're doing this, you could actually grab a whole sheet of paper, stamp up the whole thing, and then cut it down into these little bits, and then you'd get an even more kind of random smattering of the flowers. Get one there, and we'll do one up here in this corner. So this is, I would say, the best way to ink up one of these photorealistic images, just so that you get all of the definition. There's nothing worse than stamping one of these and having it just kind of look blobby. There we go. All right, so we've created this really beautiful background of assorted flowers all over the place. And now we're going to put that to the side and pull in just a little circle here. So I believe this is the second largest, oh no, sorry, third largest circle from the layering circles. So this is the one that has the scallops as well. And, oh, sorry, we don't want to put that away. I can set my brush off to the side. Now I'm going to grab my piece that's actually my line drawing. And for this one, I am going to pop it straight into the ink. I do want this really nice and dark. And I'm going to put it onto my circle so that it covers almost all of my circle. And we're done with that. So I can set that to the side and I can close up my ink. And now before this gets kind of dry or anything, I'm going to grab my Stella. I hope that noise in the background isn't too loud. I just realized you can hear my washing machine running. We had spaghetti this evening, and I was not smart enough to take the white tablecloth off of our table before we ate and put on like a red one or something. So as soon as dinner was done, I had to go throw that into the wash. All right, so I'm just using the Stella, and I am painting right over top of my image, purposefully getting it onto the lines so that the color that I stamped with is actually bleeding into my Stella and creating this nice soft pink look on my dahlia. So this works best, I find, with darker colors and especially with reds and purples. But give it a try with different colors and see what look you can achieve. Different colors will bleed differently and create a different look. All right, there we go. So we've colored our whole thing in with Stella, so it's got a great little color to it and a whole lot of shimmer to it. Okay, we're going to let that set to the side and dry. It doesn't take very long to dry at all, actually. And while that's drying, we can get going on our sentiment. So I know normally I kind of layer up my cards and build them as we go, but now this one I'm just going to kind of build it piece by piece. So we've got a background, we've got an image, now we're going to do a sentiment. And I grabbed, oh, thanks, Jacqueline. Oh, thanks, Janet. Yeah, it's a fun one to use the Stella to blend the ink colors. All right, so I've just grabbed the sentiment, thank you kindly, but there are so many nice ones in here. You inspire me, sending heartfelt sympathy, oh so happy for you, and the thank you kindly. I just never seem to have enough thank you cards though, so here we go. Some Versamark onto a piece of Mary Merlot. And then I'm going to just dip that right into my white embossing powder that I kind of always have lying around. All right, there we go. So having it lying around open like that, maybe not the best idea if you have cats or something, small children, but I find it very convenient. I do a lot more embossing because of that. You just found your lost Wink of Stella. Oh, thank goodness, Jacqueline. I think I have like 3 because I could never survive without my Wink of Stella everywhere. All right, so here we go. We're going to heat this up. There we go. So that is all done. And now to cut this one out, I'm actually just going to use my snips as close as I can to the top of the T, or sorry, the K and the H on the thank you. Snip that. And then as close as I can to the bottom of kindly. And then right in between. And so you're going to have to get really close because the Y and the K, they're really close. There we go. All right. Once that's done, I'm just going to go on an angle and snip that. And same angle again for my kindly. There we go. All right, so those pieces are all ready to get put onto our card. So I'm going to start bringing in all of our layers now. I have a thick basic white card base, and this one is 11 by 4 1/4, and then scored at 5 1/2. We're going to take our fabulous background that we stamped, and we're going to glue that onto a 4 by 5 1/4 Mary Merlot. So remember, this was 4 by 5 1/4, and I just trimmed it ever so slightly so it would layer on nicely. I am going to use liquid glue to do this because it just helps me line things up. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not going to do that. Wow. I almost forgot to add our ribbon. So I've got these pieces here, and I just want to see where I'd like everything to land. So I think I'd like it like that, which means I'm going to grab my Seal Plus. You could use Seal as well. Oh, come on. And it's not going to work for me. There we go. And I'm going to put a little bit on the back of my paper that I created. Oh, Val, isn't that Mary Merlot just gorgeous? I absolutely love it. All right. And then I've got my petal pink sheer organdy ribbon here. And I just want enough that it's longer than my piece. And then I'm going to tuck those right underneath, stretch it across and tuck it under, and so it's sticking in that Seal Plus that I just put on the back. Okay, so now that I have that ribbon band straight across right where I would like all of this lined up, and where you put it, high or low and all that, is really going to depend based on how you stamped your flowers in the background. I just kind of looked to see what would create the nicest look based on where the flowers had landed. And so now I'll put some liquid glue on there and pop this onto my Mary Merlot mat. And then I can wiggle too much. There we go. And wiggle that around to straighten it out. And then we're going to put this straight down onto our card base as well. And again, I'm going to use my liquid glue just so I can wiggle that around. Definitely get it lined up. All right. Put that in there. There we go. All right, so we've kind of built up our card base now. The Mary Merlot with the cinnamon is beautiful, isn't it? Okay, so now this piece, I'm actually not putting it on top. I am going to tuck it underneath. So again, to do that, I'm actually going to put some liquid glue on there. so that I can slide it under. Now I do want to try to not let it touch too much until I've got it positioned. There we go. And I am putting it down kind of to the right hand side. Okay, you'll see why in a moment. I've now got my piece here. This Wink of Stella is all dry. So I can put some liquid glue on the back here. Pop this onto my scalloped edge, again from the Layering Circles dies. And then that is going to pop right on like that. But we're going to use some dimensionals. Thank you, Norma. I know the colors are just like Mary Merlot is one of my favorite. Like even in my wardrobe and stuff, I wear a lot of it, especially in the autumn and winter. And I love how it just softens out. Not a huge pink person, but like the pink that is created by Mary Merlot being softened is just gorgeous. All right, so we're going to pop that on there, just kind of at an angle. There we go. And now I've got more of this petal pink organdy ribbon, and I'm going to kind of try and figure out how much I need to make a good bow, and I'm going to snip that. And now the other day I did a Christmas card, and I wanted to use a ribbon that I felt was too wide, and so I did this crazy thing. Oh, I know, Jacqueline, dimensionals. I did this crazy thing where I took my gorgeous ribbon and I cut it in half. This is something I learned from one of the artisan designers, Tammy Wilson. She is so amazingly creative and talented. And so we took this ribbon. Oh, it's not very straight. Got to practice this to get straight. But you know what? Once it's on, you actually can't even tell if you cut it straight or not. So I'm making this look harder than it usually is. It's not a good thing. There we go. So cut that ribbon right in half. Now I am still going to use both halves though, but this is going to allow me to soften it up by pulling it apart and making it look like double bows. So I'm going to pop both of those pieces underneath, find the middle, tie a knot, but we've got two pieces now that we're working with, not just one. So we're going to tie that knot. I'm actually going to slide it over a bit so that it's right at the edge of my cinnamon label. And then I'm going to tie a bow. And this part's a little tricky, tying the bow with the two layers. But we got this. There we go. Tied it up. And then we're going to squish it down to the size that we want. There we go. And once we get these at the size we want, we're actually going to pull these two bits apart so that they create double bows. And what this does is it just creates like this wild, like thin, beautiful organdy ribbon heading in every direction. And we've got this really fun poof beside our image. And I'm going to trim up a few of these just to make the ends, I cut them kind of flat. So I'm just going to angle them now. So I'm going to have 4 ends to trim up an angle. There we go. Pull those apart, and I'm missing one end. There it is. It's hiding over here. And there we go. All right, so we've trimmed up all those ends so they're all angled. And we just have, like, instead of a plain, very neat and tidy bow, which is really easy to make with this particular organdy ribbon, instead we have this like very soft and like fairy looking kind of ribbon. So thank you, Tammy Wilson, for that tip and trick, because I've been using this lately and absolutely loving it. All right, now we've got these tiny little sentiments. We're going to make sure that we get our dimensional, mini dimensional, on the end with our beginning letters. So I've put them down the correct direction, and then I'm simply flipping them over so that I can make sure that I get my dimensional on the correct end. And then on the other end, I am going to use, you can use a mini glue dot, you can use some Seal Plus, whatever. You just want the slightest bit of adhesive on the other end so it sticks to our image. And then I'm going to take my thank you and I'm putting it on here so that it's kind of like up right where the ribbon is meeting up. And then my other one, I'm going to put it down so that it's slightly more to the right and covering up where the cinnamon cider meets the label. There we go. So there's our sentiment. And then the finishing touch on this is going to be to add some champagne rhinestones, just because they look so nice with the petal pink. So like the color of them, it really complements. So we're just going to grab like, I don't know, just a little bit there and a little bit there. We're kind of going to use all the sizes. And then one of our itty bitties over here and have some fun with it. Okay, you could add even more on here if you wanted to, but I'm happy with the 3. That works for me. And that is our finished card. So you can kind of see how we've used the line and the photorealistic image, and it just creates like some really soft, beautiful, beautiful colors. So that is our card today, and you guys know, I hope, that you can earn that with a $120 order, and it is a stamp set that is totally worth saving it up, getting one of these instead of 2 of the lesser valued celebration pieces. So thank you so much for joining me. I do have a free event coming up on October 2nd for World Card Making Day. So hopefully you guys can join me. That's actually in my online workshop group. So I have a separate group for online workshops where I can kind of keep everything, where I can follow everything and keep it all contained in one place and not get lost in this big long feed on my page. So you're welcome to follow my link tree and go join my online workshop so that you can attend that day. I'll have some mystery stamping posted, and I'm going to be doing some demos and all of that, and you guys can stamp along with me. So it'd be great to have you join me for that. And don't forget that celebration's only on till September 30th, so that gives you just over 2 weeks, I believe, to either join for an incredible deal, $135 to get $165 in product of your choice, plus one of 12 free bundles that you get to add on. So really incredible. Or to earn some celebration rewards, and you can do that by placing an order, or even by getting your yearly subscription to Paper Pumpkin. You actually earn 5 celebration rewards when you do it that way, as well as get $30 in free product out of the catalogs of your choice. So it's kind of a cool way to do that. You guys all have a great night. I'll be back next Wednesday. Unfortunately, with the startup of school, stamping is not my priority this week. I'm trying to get to know my littles and connect with their families and stuff. So just a lot going on. So I won't be on again until next Wednesday night at 7:30. Unless, of course, you're joining the Sweet Stocking Stamp Camp, in which case I will see you this weekend. If you missed out on that Sweet Stocking Stamp Camp, wow, that's a hard mouthful at this time of the week. Definitely join my newsletter so you can hear about our upcoming stamp camps. We try and do 1 a quarter, and they are an event not to be missed. They are a ton of fun, a whole weekend of stamping. 7 designers, 14 cards. It's chaos. A wonderful, beautiful chaos. So definitely check out my newsletter, subscribe to that, and stay in the know for everything. All right. Good night, everyone. Good night, Jacqueline. Good night, Val, Lila.